Hi everyone, welcome to the AMA with Juan Pablo on Hack On Stream. So we have Juan from GitHub here. He's the program manager at GitHub, and you can ask him anything, as the title says. You can drop your questions in the chat, and we have collected some questions for him as well. So hi everyone, and thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be live on HackOn. I know it's quite a big event this year, and I'm super excited just to be here. I see some friendly faces in chat, so yeah, super excited to be here.
All right, so we'll wait for a couple of more minutes. Till then, everyone in the chat, you can tell us, what was a good thing that happened with you today. So, we can all share a good memory.
I mean, I'm going to be super honest with all of you. It's pretty early in Mexico City. So if I can say like something that was good that happened recently, basically I just woke up, I have some really good coffee. Last night I got the opportunity to go out with a friend who I haven't seen in a very long time, talking about like business and extra projects that we have. And I don't know, it was kind of like a very good thing to take a break from work and be able to see some friendly faces that I haven't been able to see in a very long time.
Wow, that's great. I'm having coffee right now.
Oh my god! But yours like late night coffee, which is kind of like survival style of coffee. Mine is kind of like other type of survival coffee. It's like kind of like morning coffee, like getting started. But yeah, I agree. Like late night coffee, just like it's gonna be a long night when you start having coffee in the evening.
Yeah. So, hi Priyanshu, hi Raghav. So you can share a good memory while we wait for other folks to join in, because we have 5 people right now, so we'll wait for a couple more minutes.
Sure. Well, I can introduce myself if that's of interest. But yeah, hey everyone, I'm Juan Pablo Flores. I'm a program manager here at the GitHub education team, where my job is to help you out to or support student community leaders to organize events on their campus for other students, with the idea to, have students develop better software development skills before they graduate. And we do that by different programs in the education team. The most popular one is the Student Developer Pack. And the idea behind that is that if you kind of like are getting started into coding, you don't have anything to worry about costs or having a credit card, which is kind of like super horrible that sometimes you need to have these things before you can start using a technology. So we make sure that you have only, but when you verify your account as a student account on GitHub, you get free access to all of that. Also have the magnificent Pascal just like jumped in. He's just like, I need to steal the camera as well. Like he's part of the show. But we also have the Campus Expert program, which Siddharth is part of that. Ohasby is also part of that. Yeah, we basically want to support students that want to organize events on their communities, and making sure our job is to make sure that you have everything set up from a skills perspective, from mentorship to even sponsorship, to make sure that you can do like great events and keep your community engaged, especially in these times where education is kind of like in a weird state. Right now, I do believe that community is one of those great places where you can keep yourself learning and keep yourself developing new and fun projects, even though if you are looking to have them as probably as a hobby, if you want to make, I don't know, I've seen all kind of projects during hackathons during the pandemic, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, I think hackathons like HackOn are a great opportunity for students just to explore and learn new things. And I know there's a competitive side of it, but if you're taking like the fun part of being a hackathon, you take the time to explore new technologies, you're gonna take like the best. You're gonna have the best takeaways from a hackathon.
Very rightly said. Like, I use the Student Developer Pack. Like I told you, I use Canva very excessively, and educator.io and other stuff as well. And I do think a lot of people in my circle also use that. So yeah, really thank you for that. That's like a really great initiative.
I'm glad to hear that you all use all things. I think Canva is kind of like the thing, right? Like most students get very excited about Canva, and I agree. Like Canva just like makes your life so much easier.
Yeah. All right, so we can, I guess, now start taking up questions. So we have one question in the chat which says, when will the campus expert program reopen?
Yeah, so right now, as some folks might know in chat, some students right now are going through the campus expert training. So the selection from February 2021, they are this week, today, they're finishing their training. So after today, we are going to have a new batch of campus experts. And what we look forward to have in August is we will be opening in August the application process for the next batch, which would be the August 2021 batch. So August will be the time. We're going to do several changes to the application process, not in the process itself, but in the way that we not only the way that we can like collect information in a sense of we want to learn. We notice we need to improve the way that we make our questions so that we collect the information that might be the best for an applicant. But also we are looking forward to improve the process a little bit more so that the experience improves as well.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So there, we know that you've been part of lots of communities and there has been a journey there. So would you like to share your journey? Like, how did it start? What was the first hackathon or meetup?
Oh my God, folks, grab a coffee because this is a long story. Yeah, I mean, I think I was very lucky when I started joining communities here in Mexico City. I was very lucky to find. I don't remember exactly. Well, my first hackathon was kind of like the first time that I went through kind of like a community event. And I'm gonna be super honest with all of you. At that time, I was a very noob with software development. So I believe at that time that being like able to do uh, Java with Swing. So Java Swing is kind of like to make UI, and it looks horrible. Like the worst UX that you can have is with Java Swing. But it was the thing that I knew at the time. And when I heard about this hackathon, which was the first hackathon in Mexico City from the government to kind of like find innovation projects that they could implement in the city, I kind of like was interested. I thought I was very good at coding. I was in high school though, like I was super young at that time, and I went there. We kind of like met the whole team in the line before entering the hackathon, and we just like made a team. It was kind of like my sister, who is super good with technology. I think she's much better than I do. Uh, Also, like two guys that had like their company, their IT consultancy company, and a copywriter, and we started working on a project that was called Vive tu Mercado, which is kind of like Live Your Market. Which what we wanted to do was to help local markets, local public markets, to survive due to like super big companies coming to Mexico City. They started to struggle a lot with being able to survive, and the conditions that these folks had were terrible. So we made kind of like a whole app that would allow people to buy from local markets and even buy from local vendors, so they could help them to keep living. And I think at least like in Mexico City, like local markets, and probably in India, it's kind of like the same thing, where you go to your local market, you have your preferred vendor that knows how you like your apples or your bananas or your pears. So kind of like the same feeling but online. And we did really well. But during the the development process of that project, I realized that I knew absolutely nothing about technology. So when I joined, these guys were just like, "Hey, do you know like how to do an HTML website?" And I was just like, I mean, I know a bit, but I'm not like an expert in HTML. And they were just like, okay, just like grab this template and modify these things, and you should be good to go. At that time, I was not very well with web development either, so I grabbed and I'm very sorry to tell you these folks. This is something that you can only tell someone that you really trust. But at that time, I was using Dreamweaver to code websites, which is kind of like this super massive editor from Adobe. I don't know if it's still alive. I think it's dead now, but it's kind of like an overkill to develop an HTML website. And afterwards, we presented. I was super nervous presenting because I was part of the team presenting. I don't know why I was presenting. I was like 18 years old. So I don't know why I got into, like, I jumped into the stage. I was super nervous. I messed it up like a couple of times, and at the end, we won the third place, which was pretty rad to win your first hackathon. I guess after that, I just got like obsessed with hackathons, and then I learned about the community, the developer community, and I just like took it from there to other work. And yeah, I can tell you more about it, but I'll let people make questions, because otherwise I'm going to talk about this for 3 hours.
All right, so we'll have a separate discussion for that. But yeah, even I have used Dreamweaver in the starting of my.
Oh my god! Do you like it?
I used it in 8th standard, so when I was in high school, I used it. So yeah, now I know how to code using HTML. But yeah, it
That's
was
the thing,
fun.
right? Like, I don't know why teachers like teach you how to code a website with Dreamweaver. They could use, like, well, now they can use like VS Code, and I think it would be, first of all, more accessible for anyone to start coding, because it's a free tool, and it's way more simple than any other tools that are available. So yeah.
So we have this question again regarding the Campus Expert program. It says, how to stand out in the application? Any tips or suggestions?
Yeah, we've wrote a couple of articles on how to make that happen, but I guess from our side, what we like to hear is, or to read, it's just like folks that have a genuine interest about their communities, and they understand kind of like what are the pains that their community have. So when we go through them, you can like notice when someone really is really passionate about organizing events and keeping their community engaged. And my best recommendation would be kind of like, don't search for the stories of other people, because that will bias the way that you fill that form, or you fill the fields that we look for. You can use it like to understand what the process is like, but I wouldn't recommend kind of like copy pasting the content from other people. And that's something that we see a lot, and it's very kind of like sad from our side to read that someone tried to probably someone that is very well, but is very good for the program, but kind of like those kind of things, we try to avoid them as much as we can. But I would say kind of like tell us about your community, and tell us what makes your community and you as a unique student, and someone that can really provide a lot of benefit to their local community. The other side of that is, and I'm being very transparent here, if you get a rejection from the Campus Expert program, like, don't worry, there's like 1,000 things that could happen. So don't feel bad about your work or your submission or anything. It's like sometimes there are like so many different things happening that we are not able even probably to allocate enough people, or I don't know, there's like 1,000 things that could happen. So keep yourself working with your community, and keep yourself kind of like hustling for Campus Experts, and I'm sure you're gonna get there. It's just like when you are kind of like on this side of the application process, you see the behind the scenes, and I know it's kind of like frustrating to getting a rejection letter. Personal story, I applied to GitHub like for 2 to 3 years and got rejected like thousands of times. And when I stopped looking for the opportunity, it came to me. So while applying to these programs, do the effort, like do the work, but at the same time, if you get a rejection, don't feel bad about it. There's 1,000 other programs as well, but we also kind of like, there's 1,000 reasons that could have happened that are not your related to your submission or your fault.
Totally agreed. So there is another question regarding the program, which says, does programming play an edge in the application?
Well, no. We actually don't really pay attention to your programming skills or your software development skills. We do like to see students that have some sort of experience with Git and GitHub, but we're not actively looking for them to be an expert on Git and GitHub. At the end of the program, like, my recommendation would be kind of like to read the program and the characteristics and the details. And there you will see that we are actually not looking for super ACM, ICPC, top 10 teams. We're looking kind of like for people that actually understand their community and people that could actually bring a lot of benefit to other students in their college. So the whole idea is, no, we don't put up a lot of we never ask you anything about coding, so it's very hard for us to know how big of a developer you are. But rather than that, probably like if you have some blog post, if you have written some content in, like, for example, starting at Dev with Dev2 and having a couple of blog posts or being recurrent in Dev2 could be like a great way for me to know, like, hey, like this person knows how to write some really great content, and probably we can support them with XYZ, right? Something that we are also very transparent with is that the Campus Expert program is not only about GitHub, so it's not kind of like GitHub sending you the classical ambassador kit. What we want to do is actually to support you to grow, and that's what keeps the program very balanced, in a sense that it's not only like us wanting you to organize like a thousand events, but it's actually like us. We give you the training. We for folks that are part of the program, they know, like right now we are talking with a couple of really great companies that have joined our Discord server, and we're doing projects together to support other students, which is super cool to be in that position. So we kind of like look more into people that are actively looking to improve, or looking to improve kind of like their local community, and also we try to balance that with want you to be like as successful as you can once you graduate.
Great. Thank you for that answer. So the next question that I have is, you organized Mexico's first hackathon. Like, it was the first ever, right? So how was it like? And
yeah, it was tough. Oh my god, the old times. So we did organize the first student hackathon in the country, and this was thanks to kind of like the community that I was able to connect with. So when I was in high school, after going through my first hackathon, I started to go to a lot of community events. And at that time in Mexico City, we had kind of like one co-working space that was the epicenter of everything that had to do with community. And it was just like a great place to know people that were doing amazing projects, that were extremely talented developers. And we kind of like went there once every week to kind of catch up with each other and all of that. So in one of those community events, I met a friend of mine, which is Eme Morato, who knew John Gottfried and Mike Swift. And we were talking about organizing hackathons in Mexico at that time. At that time, MLH was like 2 years old. So John was very young. Swift was sleep deprived as always. But they both were kind of getting started. There was a league in the UK as well, and we wanted to explore if student hackathons would be a thing in the country yet. And that was kind of like a key component, or a key part of kind of like my story with community, because we had to do such a long and heavy lifting work to teach people what a hackathon was, and not only for students but also for sponsors. So we got kind of like, we were very lucky that we had kind of like good connections, and a company sponsored us, and they thought that we were going to be hacking like a Mexican bank or something like that, and they brought their cybersecurity team to mentor people. And Pascal, chill, man. Give me 1 sec. Let me open that. Sorry about that. But Pascal is free now. So yeah, I believe that we had to do a lot of work evangelizing what hackathons were, and at the end we made the first one. Then another team, another school came to us, and they were like, we want to do the same thing, and we just like supported them. We had some extra cash from the first hackathon, and we helped them out. And then we were like, well, maybe we should like start considering doing a league in Mexico as well to support other students. And we built the Mexican League of Hackathons, which at the end ended up being part of Major League Hacking. So we can like merge both.
Like that's really great. Starting like in a new city which is not familiar to this and getting sponsors and people. So yeah, that's like really inspiring.
Yeah. And like be mindful that at that time, if you had kind of like an 80 people hackathon, it was like, whoa, there's so many people here. This is amazing. And now it's just like, oh my God, that's like the small kind of like type of hackathons right now. I'm just like super excited that it has grown so much, but it's weird.
All right. So we have this really interesting question, which is, what is your favorite GitHub feature?
Oh my God, I've never been asked this. I was not ready for this question. I really like the GitHub README project and kind of like your README profile. I do believe it's kind of like one of those places that you can be absolutely creative with GitHub and you can do anything that you would like to do. And as I've gone through other like README profile pages, I've been surprised by what people do. So I think for me, the README profile page is kind of like the feature that I like the most. I think the one that has been the most useful for me is GitHub Actions recently. With graduation coming up this year, we had something on like 10,000 pull requests coming in, which is a lot. So having like that automation has helped us a lot to kind of like me not dying reviewing 10,000 pull requests. And I guess for me, kind of like that has been super useful, and I was surprised. First of all, we took the technology to the limit because the first like 24 hours we got something like 6,000 pull request review, and GitHub actually just like took the whole work for us, and that was really cool to see.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so you did tackle this question. You weren't ready for it. All right, what other questions we have? Okay, there is a question regarding the Campus Export program, which says, is there a limit to the number of times a person can apply?
As long as you're a student, you can apply unlimited amount of times. We don't limit the amount of times you apply. Just keep yourself like being a student. Don't be an eternal student. That's the only advice that I can give you. But yeah, as long as you're a student, you can apply to the program.
Okay. So there is this question, which is pretty long. It says, what are some advices for like a first-time hackathon organizer? You share.
That's a good question. Yeah, first of all, I think there are like two things that will guarantee that you're successful. One is that you plan it with time. So plan it with like 2 to 3 months in advance. Like have a clear plan of what you want to do and have a clear idea of why you're organizing the event. So that when you start kind of like talking with sponsors, you can like have everything already kind of like to respond to questions that they might have. I would say for student events, most sponsors will not be very tough. So if they start making a lot of questions, don't take it very personal. It's just like some of them don't know what a hackathon is and they want to learn, so they can support you. So I guess like just like organize with enough time, have a clear understanding of why you're doing the hackathon, and what's going to be the impact, what's going to be the benefit, how everything's going to work out. And then the other great tip would be have an A+ triple awesome team. If you have a really good team that you can rely on, you won't be stressing out the whole time. And it's really hard to find a good team to organize a hackathon. Like it's not an easy job. It requires a lot of time, a lot of speaking, a lot of kind of like convincing people that this is something cool. So my ideal would be to, if you have both like time and a great team, you basically have like 50% already done. The other 50% is kind of like executing and doing the thing. And those would be kind of like my two tips. The other thing would be kind kind of like if you already have experience with hackathons, think beyond the average hackathon. Like, what can you do that it's different with your hackathon? Because the first one is good, that it's kind of like very normal. But if this is like your 10th time organizing a hackathon, then it's like, hey, like, I want to do a hackathon that now is non-competitive and people just come to have fun. Why don't you try that and being kind of like exploring like new things that you can do with your hackathon? I kind of like guess the other tip, and this just like came to my mind, is like the never use hackathon size as a success metric. Having 1,000 participants, if they have a terrible experience, it's just like the worst case scenario. If you have 10, if you have 20 people joining your hackathon, but they have like the time of their lives, I think that's a much more impactful hackathon than having a 10,000 one.
Like a follow-up question to that, a lot of people think that hackathons are hardcore, coding questions. This is Manav's question. So, how do we, try to break that? That, it's like a chill environment. You can come and just bond if you don't want to go into hardcore coding.
I mean, I see hackathons, so I think hackathons are kind of like a great place just to explore. And the point that I think we have as an industry is that when we build something and we know that there's someone judging the project or judging your work, it's kind of like, oh my god, it's gonna be like my teacher telling me that I did the thing the right way or not, right? And I think that's kind of like a bit broken. I do believe that if you want to have if you probably are not the most versed in programming, even if you are not a programmer, you want to go to a hackathon, like go for it and learn a ton of it. I believe that it's not so much about the technical skills, but much more as well for kind of like the people skills. Like, how do we get to a point where we know what's going to be the project that we will be building, and how can someone, for example, probably the worst case scenario is that you have all developers, because then the vision of the project is very biased. Like, you only think about like small part of it. So I would recommend that you have a diverse team as well. If you already have like a team that you've worked like for 10 hackathons, take one of them and like break out for one hackathon and take the opportunity to teach newcomers about how to hackathon. We have a lot of people here that have gone to 10 hackathons, and they are kind of like the team that always wins the hackathon. Just like do it, like teach others about like how they can get to that point as well. So I wouldn't say that it's not so much about the coding skills, but what I've learned through kind of like the tens of hackathons that I've been is that the teams that also kind of like win hackathons are the most creative ones, are the ones that find kind of like a very elegant solution to a very complex problem. And so don't think about like this should be like super technical and I should use super advanced AI to make a text summarization project that will stop the world from exploding. It's just like, if you make an app, if it's your first hack and you make like an app that you click a button and your coffee starts making in the kitchen, I was like, that's a super amazing hack. If it's your first hack, that's so cool, and I would be so proud of you.
That's actually pretty great advice. Like, just go in for the experience. What I personally do in the hackathon, that I never participate with the same team again. I pair up with new people, and virtually it's really easy to find new teams, and so I just get to learn about the people and new skills as well. So yeah, that's something I try to do.
And one of the things that is pretty amazing about hackathons is that I'm not that old though, but I know I look old, but the thing is, I've seen a lot of people that I've met through hackathons grow through the years, and I would say like 60% of them are doing amazing projects right now. Like, after they graduated, now that they are working either on a startup, on a big company, or on their own business, they are all doing amazing work. And that's why meeting new people as you go through hackathons is so important for you to kind of like if you keep up with them, you'll see that people that go to hackathons are like super incredible human beings.
That's true. Like I've met a couple of new people through hackathons, online, virtual, or in person. So yeah, I could relate to that. Um, so other question that I have is, so I read in your profile that you were a developer first, and then you changed to switch to program manager in GitHub. So how did that change come about, and was there like a motivation behind it?
Oh my god, that's so hard. I mean, I think GitHub was one of those companies that I really liked, and
Yeah,
that I really strive to work with. The thing is that even though like I'm a computer engineer, I was just kind of like for a couple of things that I did, I actually was kind of like the developer. I would say that something that was very key for me as I moved to kind of like a management role was to keep yourself learning, even though that you have graduated. Like keep yourself learning something new. I I'm going through classes right now on a business school. Not so much because I want to kind of like have a business, but just because like I've learned so much from that other side of kind of like how tech works that it's very interesting for me and has been really useful for a couple of things in my life. So I would say even though like you have graduated, if you really want to be successful in the industry, and I'm not saying that I'm successful, you need to keep yourself learning something new all the time so that you keep yourself updated, and you never know when you're going to use these other skills that might not be necessarily related with technology, but that actually can help you out, even like if as a fun story on a conversation. All of these things have an impact on how you develop professionally and personally. And for me, I think I was it was a huge change because like the program is pretty big. Like we have right now something around like 150 students. So learning how to manage kind of like all things was a lot of trial and error, and it took quite some time to get to a point where I'm like I kind of like know what I'm doing right now. Which if someone tells you like they know what they're doing, probably they're lying. So go out and tell someone you trust that this person told you that. But as you start learning how things work as well, you'll get more comfortable with the things that you do. And I think that was kind of like one of the biggest learnings. And a lot of the things that I did was kind of like ship to learn. So kind of like what you do at a hackathon, like you want to do a I don't know, a super fancy robot, and you think you're gonna do that on a weekend, and then you realize that you were only able to do a finger of the robot, right? So you kind of like that's why also hackathons are a great way for learning. It's just
yeah,
like for you to know like what's possible in such a short amount of time. Make sure that you define what you're gonna be doing and what's gonna be the end product with the resources that you have at the time or with the skills that you have. And yeah, I mean, a lot of things in life are trial and error, and I think it's kind of like the best ways to learn.
that makes me think of a really interesting question. What is the most interesting or the hack that you built you think is like the best one?
The best hack that I built, oh my god, I don't know. Huh. Kind of like technically speaking, or just the one that I had the most fun?
Yeah, in any way.
Hmm. That's a tough question. I don't know if I have an answer for that. We, I mean, I was super new at that time, but we did kind of like an app. So we were part of the Space Apps Challenge from NASA like some years ago. And I
Yeah,
think for me, being able to connect to kind of like a NASA server and pull data from it was like, oh my god, we're in NASA, like we're pulling data from one of their satellites. That's so cool. And even though the app was super like basic, um, I think for me, kind of like being able to know how easy it is to connect with these things that I thought were unreachable. Was super enlightening to be like you can either like find a way to connect to these companies and pull data, or you can ask for it as well, which is also very important.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for that answer. All right. So, you know, um, one other question that I have is like someone just shared that the best part for the pandemic, like because of the pandemic, they could participate in hackathons. So how is pandemic affected you positively?
Well, we at the GitHub education team we do travel a lot, and it's kind of like part of the job. Uh, I think for me personally, being able to stay home was a massive difference in my life. Um, of course, in the beginning, it was very impactful. We kind of like try to evolve as the pandemic evolved as well. But I think something that I really have enjoyed is I've been able to connect with students from all over the world from my home without having to take a 13-hour flight to the other side of the planet. And I think that's the thing that I value the most, just like being able to come to HackOn and being able to give a talk, and then I can go afterwards and have some Mexican chilaquiles afterwards without having to take another flight. Um, so for me, the cool thing about the pandemic is it has allowed me to connect with people that I wouldn't have been able to connect before. And I really appreciate the fact that I'm able to do that, and that I'm in a position that I don't know, like I'm also able to give these talks without any issue or any struggle. So yeah, I think that's kind of like the thing, and I think due to that, for example, I met um, have I met? I met for example Siddharth. We met each other like on. I think he reached out to me on Discord, and he's just like, hey, like let's have a conversation, and and then I follow him on Twitter, and we can like talk, and that's like super cool. And otherwise, I would have been much more giving more importance to the in-person events than the virtual ones, and um, that has opened to me kind of like a lot of opportunities to talk with really cool people.
That's great. So a shout out to Siddharth as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, I have this question that what do you miss about in-person meetups and conferences?
What do I miss? I miss food. I miss. I know this is kind of like a very GitHub thing, but I miss not having to cook my own food, which is a very first world problem. But I would say kind of like the biggest thing is just like I really miss kind of like that interaction of, like in Mexico we're very there's a thing called in the US called PDA, of like public demonstration of affect, which is kind of like more when you're with your partner and you can like kiss in public or you hold hands or whatever. Mexico doesn't have like a limit with PDA, and kind of like being able to go with your friend and hug him and be like, hey, how you doing? It's been a long time, and being able to see people that you haven't seen for a very long time, you're like randomly see them on an event. It's just like the thing that I miss the most, being able to connect with people that I haven't seen in a long time is kind of like the thing that I miss a lot. And probably that's much more like virtually you need to intentionally ask them to join a Zoom call or any kind of like call. And I guess outside of when you were in person, you could meet random people in a better way, or just like catch up with people that you haven't seen in a very long time.
I miss food from the meetups as well. Like it was a different experience.
Yeah, I mean, there were like if your meetup was really good, you would have the best food.
Yeah. So I was part of BDG, and they usually have like these pizzas at every meetup, and used to share.
Oh wow!
The organizing team used to share the pizza, so it was very nice.
I should I should open a company just to provide food to meetups or something like that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it will be. All right. So I have another question. So Hackon. So this is more like a thinking question. So Hackon's theme, we have two main themes: mental health and diversity and inclusion, and then we have two other themes: COVID and open innovation. So if we were to stick to the main themes, what would something you want to be built in that space? Like if you were participating,
Ooh,
what would be something?
that's tough. Damn, it's hard. I guess I would love to work something for diversity and inclusion, especially for queer folks. We've been able to connect a lot with. I mean, want to take that a little bit 2 steps back. So a very good friend of mine does social studies for kind of like queer community in Mexico, and I believe that the queer community has also been very impacted by COVID, not only from a work perspective, but also from a family perspective. And what they discover is that if you are trans or non-binary, they were this really struck by the pandemic, because their families probably they were not visible, or they were very discreet with their families about that, or they were afraid of being kind of like very visible with their family or with coworkers, or kind of like, I don't know, like probably you are very straight in the work, but when you have a camera from your bedroom, you're kind of like exposing also a bit of your personality there. And I think something like 46% of the people that they interviewed that were trans had to leave their homes, and some of them actually lived in the streets for a couple of days. So thinking about that, I do believe that there's a huge opportunity that we're able to provide some sort of benefit to trans people during the pandemic. And it can be from mental health support to how can we help them to find a job that will be accepting, or how can they submit some sort of announcement about a place that was not inclusive, and collect the data and start analyzing. I know different cultures have different views on kind of like queer community, but tech being so globally accepted, or such a global and transverse thing or industry, we need to find like better ways in which we can make everyone feel like they belong, and that the impact that we have. The cool thing about technology is like if you solve a problem for one person, you solve a problem for thousands or millions. And I do believe like if there's like a little bit that we can do for these minorities in tech, it's gonna have a massive impact. And I don't know, that would be kind of like the thing. There's a lot of other topics a little bit stronger about like making sure that people have, if you have HIV, that you have your medicines. Where can you get a medicine, or where if there's no stock in your locality, where can they find the closest one? So there's a lot of things that folks can do in inclusion and diversity. I know these probably minorities and inclusion and diversity is not one of the coolest topics in town, but I do believe that making technology for people is that's something that we should totally put more attention to. And if you need some help with queer community, pick me up on Twitter and I can give you some feedback if that's what you need. Or if you need to connect with someone, I can give you like some Twitter usernames that can help you out with that.
I think building for people helps, satisfy you or gives you that little happiness inside you. So I've been working on a mental health project, and when I hear from people that it's helping them, that little small smile that I get, that's like the best thing I could have like done.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if you're participating in Hackathon, do try to build for mental health or diversity and inclusion, because these are topics that people want to take up. They'll help people. So yeah, try building on these topics. All right. Another questions that I have would be, right, we have some like things in the chat. Every folk must be awarded a free pizza on successful submission. Well,
I agree.
we'll try that, man. All right. So with there's been a lot going on with GitHub and other things that you've been doing. So how do you balance your time? Like I did also read that you did a research paper. So how are you able to?
That's a tough question. I'm very bad at managing my time. No, it's kind of like weird, but I think lately I have improved the way that I dedicate time to things. Part of that is kind of like I'm trying to be a little bit more responsible with my own time and being able to kind of like the problem right now with the pandemic is like not being able to going out for me was kind of like a very kind of hard thing because I was very very careful with kind of making sure that I had like my mask and everything, and I didn't like going out that much during the pandemic. Not that I went a lot, but when I had to. And I think that was the thing that affected me the most, not being able to kind of like to bring friends and being like, hey, see you at 8. And then, like at 7:30, you're going to need to stop working because you need to kind of like get ready to go out with your friends. You're going to like to talk with them or prepare something. And I guess, I don't know. I don't have any like super massive teams, but I think the thing that I'll learn the most is there's always going to be like work to do. Like there's always something pending on your to-do list. And the more that I tried to kind of like complete that, the more that I knew that that list was never going to be ending. Like there was always something to do. And being able to take some time and be like, like I'm going to work until 9 p.m. today, because that's like the thing. You're probably like, depending on what your schedule would be. I mean, if there's like some night owls, I know, like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep at 3 a.m. in the morning because I like sleeping very late. It's like super cool. It's so cool that you're able to do that now. But making sure that you have time also for yourself, being responsible with yourself will actually help you to do better work, or kind of like do high performance work. So it's not only about like working extreme hours that I think sometimes is seen as something to be proud of, like being burnout and being like, oh yeah, I worked like 2 days straight in a thing, and I'm been doing a lot of work. It's just like, okay, like that's cool if you really like it, but it shouldn't be necessarily like something to be proud of or something that people should target to become. I think if you be responsible with yourself, and if you're responsible with yourself, then you're gonna be able to do great work, even though if you don't work like 10 hours a day. If you work for a normal amount of time, but you do really high performance work, you're going to have the same results and you're going to keep your mental health.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. I do have this habit, which you said, with working for 10 hours, but yeah, now I've started plugging out and going out because in the pandemic, I was just like, my candles, block, 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 block. So I didn't
Yeah.
have time even to eat.
I think everyone was like that. Like we were all kind of like, oh my God, I need to work. What happens if this happens and all of that. And now we're probably, I mean, I don't know. Again, it depends a lot on geographies, but for me, kind of like, I feel like I'm getting better into kind of like managing my time and making sure that I also take breaks to talk with friends and see other human beings, even
Yeah.
virtually.
Good. So, I'm just waiting for one last question in the chat. Till then, let's everyone can do a small activity since it's really early morning for you and everyone's joining pretty late here. So we can do like a refreshing activity. This is like something that I came up with. So, you have 10 seconds and grab anything which is like near you. It could be anything. Just pick it up.
Okay, this is gonna be weird, but I have my secondary headphones here, so when these headphones die, I have other headphones around to kind of come over. These are GitHub as well, so that's pretty nice.
Oh, that's nice. So I also picked up earphones because that's like the backup for the headphone, which is like a weird coincidence. So yeah, with this activity, you pick this object. Now you have to like just share. Everyone in the chat can do this as well. Just share why you are grateful for this like object that you picked.
So what was it? The thing, I kind of like lost it.
Oh, okay. I just have to tell like why I'm thankful for my earphones.
I mean, these headphones were made for the education team, and it was kind of like our New Year gift from the education director. So these only a handful of people have them, and that's why I'm really. I mean, it was the right item to take. So yeah, these are kind of like extremely valuable. It was kind of like the first time that we sent swag to the GitHub staff in kind of like this way, and it took a lot of work to make this happen.
But it's like a really cool gift to have
It is.
and to give. Yeah. All right. So yeah, the point of this activity is just to know that anything in your life can make you happy. It could be any small thing sitting next to you in your desk. So you can have like a good time just thinking about that small thing. All right. So the last question that I have, okay, someone did share in the chat what they picked up. So Priyanshu picked up his phone, and he's grateful because it allowed him to learn things and meet new people. Okay, that's
That's
great,
so nice.
Priyanshu. Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
there is a question in the chat which says future plans for GitHub.
I mean, there's a lot coming up next. We have today we have a live stream with Ikra talking about non-tech people in tech. We have on June 6th the GitHub graduation for you folks that are graduating this year. You get, well, if you didn't submit early, you probably won't get swag this year, but if you submit early, you will get some really nice swag that the education team has built. In June 21st, we have a new and exciting product for hackathon organizers and community leaders. So watch that up. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but that's pretty cool. And there's a ton of new features that is coming out on the second half of June. And there's a couple of really cool products that I'm really excited to see how students like you folks are going to be using. So yeah, I would say like there's always something coming up next, at least from the education side. If you are graduating and just want to walk the stage, you can still submit a pull request to the GitHub graduation 2021 repository and get yourself in our graduation ceremony.
I haven't submitted the pull request yet, so I'll do that just after this call. And we're really excited to hear about the organizer update.
Oh my god, you're gonna die when you hear it. It's like so cool, and I'm so happy we're making it. So we have a couple of extra companies joining us for that, so that's pretty rad.
Okay, I'm really excited for it. So yeah, I think that's about the questions and the Ask Me Anything. If you have any questions, we still have a couple of minutes left. So you can go ahead and add that in the chat. And people are really liking the dark theme on GitHub. Even I like that. Like I really like how that turns dark.
Yeah,
So.
And in terms of accessibility and the design architecture for that, it's one of those super massive projects that might seem very simple, but in the behind the scenes has a ton of different like things that happened. And I don't know, I've seen, probably if you go now to GitHub, where the dark mode kind of like thing is, if you haven't clicked it, there's a super beautiful and cute animation of an octocat to turn dark mode on. So yeah, that team is like super cool.
Yeah, I really like how the colors change from like red, green, and that animation. Like it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Vedant is asking advice for folks in early 20s. That's a really broad question.
Don't take things too serious. If you're at a hackathon, have fun. If you win, that's great. If you don't, that's great as well. I think people that are very chill are the ones that do really good job, and kind of like don't try to do things perfectly. Like there's a lot of things you can do, and you're in your 20s, so people expect you to not be super highly technical or know everything. We actually do expect that you have questions. So make questions. Feel free to reach the people. You never know who's going to respond. Sometimes people will ignore you. Sometimes people will call back and schedule something, or at least give a response. So yeah, don't take things too serious. You're learning. You can do mistakes and people will be like okay with it. and make a ton of questions. Like never stop making questions if you can.
Yeah, that's great advice. And this is like the last question that we're taking. So can you please explain what GitHub graduation is?
Yes, so GitHub graduation is an event that we launched last year as a response to the pandemic, so that students had something to celebrate, even though like we were all at home. I do believe like graduation is one of like those things that needs to be celebrated, even though like if you like it or you don't like school, even if you kind of like want to celebrate or not, it's a great time for you to kind of like celebrate an achievement, and is not an easy achievement at all. So I mean, you folks like our hackathon organizers know how hard it is to be a community leader and at the same time try to graduate and keep everything working. But yeah, I do believe that there was a need for celebration, and we did this really fun project that was a graduation yearbook, which basically you can get added to the yearbook via pull request, which is super fun, and I really love that we're able to do that. And basically, what we do is we open the yearbook. I think like a couple weeks last week, and you can submit a pull request to add yourself to the yearbook. If you did that and you were part of the first 5,000, you will get some really nice swag from GitHub delivered to your home. I just saw the swag, and I have to say, like, I'm so excited that I'm also getting my swag kit. And once like I think on the 27th, we're gonna be opening the yearbook so that you can find yourself and see your quote and everything. And then on June 6th, we have the graduation celebration or the graduation ceremony where we invite folks to give a talk. We're gonna have some really cool rock stars from our program talking. So we have Kushbo giving a commencement speech. We have Ikra giving a speech as well. We have Shanku, who is our VP of product, giving a keynote. And then we're gonna be giving some special surprises there as well. So I would highly recommend you to watch.
Already excited for the graduation ceremony, and Priyanshu here has a request to maybe increase the number by 5,000.
That's my fault, folks. I was just like, how many people do you think will submit a pull request this year? And I was just like, probably like 5,000. It's like double the size that we had last year. So I apologize, Priyansh. I know it's not the best. I try my best to project how many people we're going to submit a pull request. But yeah, so I don't have anything else to say.
Maybe when you do a master's, Priyanshu, you can reapply for the graduation.
That's an option. You can do a master's, or you can be in a boot camp, and when you graduate, then you can be like, "Hey, I graduated from this boot camp." Yeah.
So thank you so much, John, for your time, and thank you everyone in the chat for your questions and interacting with us. Any last notes you want to add?
Have fun at HackOn. Take the time to celebrate these small achievements, meet new people, and in general, just like have fun. Just enjoy doing something, even though if it's not solving a world struggle right now. If you do a small thing that it's a lot of fun and it's just like cool, and you think other people will find it like, hey, this is like cool as well, and it's not like a super heavy technical thing, just go for it. It's a great time for you to learn. It's the right time for you to make questions, and also it's a great time to kind of like fail and learn from those failures. So don't think hackathons are like this extremely technical thing. And yeah, just enjoy the experience and meet new people.
Thanks for that advice, and thank you everyone for attending this live stream. Bye bye. See you on HackOn.
Bye, everyone.